Hello, everyone. Welcome you all to Women Leadership in Rubber Industry, the journey. This is a special Technobase virtual event series on women leadership. Um, I could say one of the popular series nowadays among our network, Technobase network. And through this you can call it as a mini MBA class in the eyes of the how a woman leader in doing in the rubber industry. And today our guest leader is Mrs. Maria Pina-Heller. She's a CEO and founder of the Valex Group, well experienced. She's a technocrat, I would say. She's an engineer and turned businesswoman, and she contributed so much to the industry, in the rubber industry in American area. And so that we're going to explore her journey through this session today. Before I let her to invite you to join this session, let me quickly introduce to you about the Technobase, and so what we are doing, what kind of activities we have. I'm going to show you a slideshow. I'm not going to speak on it. If I start speaking, probably it will take a long time. It's better that you see as a slideshow. So please allow me to show you the slideshow first. Okay, that gives you some idea for you about the. So let's get to today's session of the women leadership in rubber industry, the journey. My conversation with Maria. So Maria, welcome to the session today.
Thank you, Peran. Thank you for the invite. I'm very happy to be here.
Super. Oh, so let's dive into the conversation today. Okay, so it's going to be informal and pretty much, you know, there is no script there, no questions.
For that, yeah.
So nothing to remind any numbers, anything there. But the leadership of women is very important for the rubber industry, and particularly the contribution that offered by the women leaders significant. And I want to encourage more young women into the rubber industry, more people like you, inspire you with your journey. That's an objective of today's conversation. Yeah.
Thank you.
So for the benefit of everybody to get understanding, talk about your early days. A long time ago, we were talking about, long ago. So I don't want to put any numbers now. Okay. Otherwise, people ask me, it is a long ago. Otherwise, people ask me, what is your age? So better not talk about it.
I'm not gonna say.
So talk about your education. Yeah. So before you get to the rubber industry, yeah.
Yeah. I'm a chemical engineer. I just decided my dad is also a chemist. So I think, of course, I'm the eldest in my family, and the eldest, you always try to follow your family steps. And my dad was very passionate about chemistry in general. So I was always, wanted to understand what happened with everything, and so that's why I choose chemical engineer. So it was easy. It was I was good in math, and I say, okay, let's be an engineer.
So you are a chemical engineer. Me too. Okay.
Oh,
Did you?
great.
Yes. So what is your favorite subject? In unit operations or thermodynamics or heat exchange? Which one? Mass transfer or heat transfer? Which one you like most? Or
Now
which
I
one
like rower. I know.
at that time, right? When you were doing your chemical engineering? Yeah.
The time, of course, it was. I like organic chemistry. I mean, like chemistry, basic
Okay.
chemistry. Organic
Nice.
chemistry was my favorite. Yes.
Okay. So you after finishing chemistry, chemical engineering, and then you got into the, what is your career? How the career started?
Sorry.
How the career, how you get into the industry? What industry you work in?
Yeah. No. My dad had a factory in Venezuela.
Hmm.
Back then, and we used to produce sodium silicate, and I mean it was wonderful. So I began to work with him in the plant. So at the beginning, I began with being in the lab in quality control, and that moment it was called quality control, not now like quality assurance or whatever.
Yeah.
So I began to work in quality control, and I love to work in the lab. Then I moved to research and development, and that moment we began to produce precipitated silica back in before I began to work, but it was like a smaller operation. So I began to work also in research and development, and then in that moment we were working on development of silica for the rubber industry. So we had like a small rubber lab
Hmm.
beside the research lab, and I was fascinated with rubber. And then I went to France to study a little bit about rubber in the IFOCA. I don't know how to pronounce it in English. So I went and I have a training in rubber in France, and we began to work with highly dispersible silicas, and then we bought a little bambury. So we had a 5-liter bambury in the lab, and it was like one thing to another one, and I really enjoy so much being in the rubber lab. And I began to visit customers when they had problems with silica, which is, have to say, sometimes very often, because people really don't know how to use silica. That you didn't know how to use silica years ago,
Yeah.
like 20 years, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's why I began to be involved in rubber. And I had a lot of customers first in Venezuela, and it was amazing. I mean, for me, it was like I really prefer the rubber lab to the to the research and development lab, because it was like more, I don't know, mysterious. I don't know how to say, that when you mix something, you don't never know what is going to happen at the end. So I began to work with more customers and I began to visit other customers in Latin America,
Mm.
just to help them with the technical issues in using precipitated silica. And that's how everything began with rubber. And then I mean, that's why I love rubber. Yeah.
Yeah. So that company still exists, your
No,
father company?
the
Okay.
company was closed in 2009, in
Okay.
2009. It was
So,
2009, because all the problems in Venezuela, we had to close the plant.
oh, okay. Because of the political reasons. Yeah. That's, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And, and
Before
you,
that, yeah,
yeah.
before that, my dad built a plant in China
Mm.
in 2002.
Mm.
So I went to China. That's another story.
Yeah.
Uh, I went to China to, to establish things in the lab, to work on the establishment of the lab. And we had people there. We had one of my colleagues now, she used to work in China too. So that was a very nice experience, being in China for so long and working there and trying to, start the plant. So it was an amazing, amazing, amazing experience for me.
Do you mind if I talk a little more about your Venezuela experience? Basically that, see that sometimes there are things happen beyond your control, like a political crisis, and
Mhm.
it's not just only financial issues, but a lot of stress, dealing with all the things at one time. So can you talk about how your father, I think a lot of your father influence is there on you a lot, I guess, right? Because of that, chemistry background, you were into it. So how was situation at the time? What you guys were thinking, how you wanted to overcome? Because there are things happen be not in your control, yeah, at the time, yeah.
Yeah, there was I mean, I had to say, um, it's very difficult, because in life you have a lot of things out of your control. I mean,
Yeah,
most of the things in your life are out of your control. You control very little when you realize after so many years that you control very little things. And I remember before everything was crazy, after I was in research and development and went to China. When I came back from China, I was moved to marketing and sales. And I used to visit a lot of customers, and at that time I try, I mean, to get the approval for our products on the tire companies. And we were very successful. We got a lot of tire approvals, like Goodyear, Pirelli, everybody. So it's a enormous work, get approval and sell
yeah,
into these big companies. And
yeah,
then suddenly, the country began to get into trouble. I remember the first things the first problem was Venezuela had a lot of oil, and they have production of sulfuric acid in the country.
mm,
So the raw materials for precipitated silica are sodium silicate and sulfuric acid. But because all these political problems, the country stopped to produce sulfuric acid.
Mm.
So suddenly you don't have your raw material, you don't have the ability to bring it into the country. So it was like one thing after another, after another. Then importing some things from other countries was very difficult. So the sad thing is that after you know that you have a good product, the main companies are using your products, and then suddenly you cannot sell to them. So you have to. I remember, yeah, visiting then these tire companies and say to them, okay, we cannot. We don't have the ability to give you product.
Mm.
So it's tough because after so much work you have to say, and you have to be responsible and tell them that you have problems. It's something that you cannot hide.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was very tough. And after growing up with these plants, you love the noise of a plant.
Yeah.
It's like that noise is wonderful. And then when they stopped the plants, oh my God, I mean, the silence was something that I couldn't bear.
Mhm.
Um, is doing so many things, but and then it was when I decided to leave because I said, okay, um, I have to, go through this and do more things because you know that you cannot be just stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. So you sold the assets at the time, were able to sell the assets of the factory?
To what? Sorry?
The assets, the factory you can sell
No,
equipment. It's that, just
no.
leave it as it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah,
the
that
factories
is,
are there. And yeah, you could not even sell them. I mean, not even the pieces. It are like a sodium silicate factory. The main thing is a big furnace,
yeah.
and you cannot sell a furnace. This is built in. And in the silica plant, you have reactors, you have dryers, you have so many things that you cannot just go to the next door and say, okay, you want to buy a dryer. It there was our equipment that very difficult to do something. And at the beginning, when the plants were idle, you know, my dad tried to say, okay, maybe this is 1 year, 2 years, stop. And then 2 years, became 5 years, became 10 years, and now it's 25 years. So it's it's been a long story. So yeah, th- yeah,
It's a tough, yeah. It's a tough. So
it's a tough. I mean, I still feel for those plants. Yeah,
yeah,
and the
because
people.
your people in the lab, your beloved rubber lab, right? You started working on the laboratory in there itself, on the particular rubber side. Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, I still when in our good days, we had like a 5 liter Banbury.
mm,
We have a roller mill. We have tension, abrasion. We could test almost everything: viscosity, Muni viscosity, rheometry. So we
yeah.
we had a very very nice lab,
Mm,
and then suddenly you have nothing. So yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So what happened afterwards? Once you left the country?
I left the country and I went to Colombia,
Hmm.
and um,
So
because
you are
when
basically you are a Venezuelan, or you are born
Venezuela,
in, yeah?
I was
Okay.
born in Venezuela. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
born in Venezuela, and I mean I studied in Venezuela, everything in Venezuela. So
Mm.
suddenly, after you have like a nice career, because I began to work when I was out of school. Even before I was out of school, I began to work in the company,
Right.
and then you have a career. I was like a marketing and sales manager. I used to sell like probably like more than 50 countries. And I was selling to the big companies, Goodyear, Pirelli, Firestone, everybody, even Hankook, Kumo. And then suddenly you say, okay, what am I gonna do? Because sometimes you build a career and you think that you wanted to go up in your career,
Yeah.
and then suddenly say, okay, now everything is gone. What are you gonna do? So I moved to Colombia. I started a company. I say, okay, I will try to sell like raw materials, especially silica in Colombia. So I, fortunately, because of my work on the Latin American Rubber Association, I knew a lot of people. So that's the good things about uh, participating in like in an association. So because you always travel, you know people in every country that are in the association. You have friends in everywhere, and then you are able to call somebody and say, okay, I'm here. Can you help me? So I went to Colombia, and I started a company selling um, precipitated silica, and then that was at the beginning, and then we began to sell also carbon black
Mhm.
and in Colombia. So I met a lot of people. I did a lot of things in Colombia. I'm very grateful because I learned I learned a lot in Colombia. I even work with tire recycling.
Okay.
That was something. This I know I have a friend in Colombia, and he had a friend that was starting a pyrolysis plant in Colombia.
Uh-huh.
And this guy didn't know anything about rubber or anything, and he called me and said, "Can you help me?" And I said, "Of course I can help you." So I've never seen a pyrolysis plant before, but I said, "Okay, it's a plant, it's a plant." And I knew something about heat transfer or furnaces and that sort of stuff. So I have a friend in Venezuela, and I brought him because he was very good. He is very good in processes and stuff. And I say, let's try to run this plant, because the plant didn't even start. So we started the plan, and we began to do like pyrolysis, and it was a very nice experience too. It was wonderful because that's a kind of a different experience, working with something and then working with pyrolysis. So we worked on this plan for some time, like probably 2 or 3 years, and then 2020 came, and we had to stop the plan. So it's like life is like that. You do something and you never know what is going to happen.
What happened? What happened? Why did you need to close it?
Yeah, in 2020, the plan, we had to stop the plan because everything was stopped. Colombia was very strict on COVID,
Oh,
and then some people came into the plan and began to steal parts of the plan, and then the owner died in
oh,
2020. So yeah,
oh.
it was, oh my God. For us was like, how can he die? It was, I mean, something that, and the family didn't want to pursue the business. So, and I said, okay, I think it's better. I mean, he was a wonderful guy. I really appreciate the trust he had in us, and but that kind of thing happened. Yeah.
Mm. So, and you've been through another crisis, yeah?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. Yes,
And
that's a one
so,
another kind.
and
Yeah,
is that still closed? Anybody touch that plant anymore? That's idle. Ah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's idle. So yeah, we stopped working on there because the family didn't want to pursue.
Yeah,
It's a tough business. Pyrolysis is still a tough business.
yeah,
Um, it's a nice business. I have to say that now more people are aware that
Yes.
pyrolysis is a good thing to do with tires. I'm happy that we learned a lot. We did a lot. Um, we help other people because there are more people in Colombia now doing pyrolysis, and so we help them, and we know about pyrolysis. So that's something that you always have in your background. That's why we also organized in 2019. We organized the first uh, Latin American tire recycling conference in
Okay.
Mexico.
Mm.
So that's something that we are doing in the SLTC too. So, and the last one in Lima, we had the third Latin America conference on tire recycling. It was full of people, and I was so happy that we have not only pyrolysis, we have um, uh, like I forgot asphalts. So we had people working, talking about the different ways to recycle tires. So I mean, everything that you do in life, gives you an experience, and it's a way to help other people to do better things.
I think that tire recycling, I think the more awareness has come and technologies also have more technologies, improved
Yes.
technologies available, and industries and the so-called sustainability, so people are starting circularity in the business, so that makes a huge difference in the tire recycling market. So I
Yeah.
want, yeah, go on.
I think that, tire recycling, when I was working on that, it was probably 2017, 2016 when I began. And 27, no, 16 probably, yeah. And the the thing is that at that moment nobody knew anything about that, and people were very like afraid of using a product from pyrolysis. But now people are more open because sustainability is more in the mind of people, and so more people are open to try the products to see. And a lot of a lot of scientists are working on improving technology, improving the products, even making new things. So that's what important. I mean, tire recycling is something that we will have to work in. I'm not saying that pyrolysis is the best. Probably there are other ones. I like pyrolysis because I work with pyrolysis and I like it. And it's very tough. I have to say that it's tough, tough, tough. But is there are many, many technologies that you can use to recycle tires, and I
Yeah,
think that they will improve very soon.
yeah, yeah. I want to touch back a little bit on the two crises that you have, one in Venezuela and another is in Colombia.
Yeah.
So how did you deal with your customers? How, whether, you in Venezuela, you work so hard on getting approvals from tire companies. Suddenly you cannot, produce your silica and give them. And what was the reaction from the clients? When they've seen this one, how did you manage it at the time? What was the message that you tried to convey? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when that happened, when we got the approval, and then in the next year we began to sell to these companies, and our company was selling. I mean, we were producing all we produced. We sold. We sold. It was amazing because you never had like not even 1 kilo in inventory was so. But then when you realize that you had a problem that is out of your hands, so you have to decide that this is the moment when we have to say something to the customer, because you have to be responsible, and they had to know that you have a problem. Because if you don't tell them, they will have a problem too, a bigger problem. So we prepare what we have to show to them, and I personally visit every customer. I mean, of course, I began with the tire companies. I went to Akron, I went to Nashville, I went to, and even my distributors. I visit them and I say, okay, we have this problem. We don't know when it's gonna happen. Uh, Most of them were very they already knew that something was happening in Venezuela, and they were grateful that we told them, with enough time that they could, do something and move on and try to find product when we don't have it. Of course, we try to ship everything that we have in the plant, but then things began to, going down, and we couldn't just provide them. We tried to supply some of them with our Chinese product, but that for the tire company that didn't work because they need to approve every plan, and that
Yeah.
plan was very young and they didn't approve it yet. So that's the way you have to do. You have to
Mhm.
be. You have to show your face and say, okay, we have a problem, and I'm here to tell you that. How can I help?
Mm. And so you still have the company which you sell the carbon black and silica in Colombia?
Oh no, because I moved to US.
Yes. Okay. You close it down that one also. Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
in
okay. It's a
2019.
basically it's a trading house, right? It's a trading company. Yeah. Basically.
Valex?
Yeah. Yeah, you represent other companies, right? Carbon black and silica, and you sell to the customers. Yeah. So
Yes,
okay,
it's a
now
distributor. True,
so now
distributor.
you enter into USA. So what happened in USA? What how the journey started in USA?
I got married. And that's the reason I got married.
Okay, good. Congratulations. Good
Yeah,
thing
so
happened then. Yeah.
yeah, good thing happened. I mean, not everything is bad or sad. I mean, that's
Yeah.
life is like that. Sometimes things are good, sometimes not everything is good, but some good things happen. So
Okay.
yes, I got married in 2019, and I moved to US. And I have to say that at the beginning, I said, I need to rest a little bit. I've been working so hard for so long, and with so many things, because I, I moved from Venezuela to Colombia. And when you are an immigrant, that's very tough. Also, being an immigrant, you left everything. You left your family. You left your friends. You left everything. You left even the good things, the material good things that you have, and then you go to know. You get to know a new country, new people, and so I moved to US, and I said maybe I should, do something else by Robert. I don't know, maybe something, uh, because so I moved, and then after like 5 6 months, I say no, I have to do something. I cannot just. So I I'd say because of my work on the CRTC. I really think that Latin America is a region with a lot of potentiality. I mean, a lot of potential, and we have so many good things, and we are very close to US. And when I was in Colombia, I I met a lot of people from the natural rubber business too, and people from Brazil, from everywhere. So I moved to US, and I say, okay, let me try to do something in US. I don't know what, but I will do something. So I, at the probably September or something like that, September, October, I called a friend in Brazil, and I told her, I'm in US now, and I want to begin to sell products in US. I talk to other people, and other people say no, but she say, you know what? I already have a distributor there, but they are not selling one of my line of product. If you want to sell it, I say okay. So do you know anything about nitrile latex? And I say, oh, I can do it. I mean, of course, I don't know anything about latex, but I can do it. So I said, okay, let's try to do it. It was tough because in the US in that moment there were only two glove companies, very small glove companies. So we tried to. I mean, it was myself and my friend in Colombia, and we began to call people in US, and nobody was producing here. So suddenly in December 2019, one glove company say, okay, yes, let's send me a sample. So we send them a sample of nitrile, and in January they say, oh, your product was approved, and they say, but we need to send the glove to my customer to see if they like it or not. So in January 2020, I established Valex.
Okay.
Okay, that will work. So if we have one customer, we have a business. So yeah, it was like that, and we couldn't find more customers. I say, oh my God, maybe this is not working. I tried to find other products, and so suddenly in March 2020, COVID. Oh my God, and I say, oh my God, I'm over. So yeah, over. This is so it was like, oh my God, what I want to do. So um, suddenly everything was closed, and then it was like, I don't know, I don't remember. It was maybe March 15 when everything was closed in US, and then like 1 week after that, the customer that approved the product in US called me, and I say, I really need nitrile now, because the government called them that they had to produce more gloves because they were not producing so many. So suddenly they needed like a lot of nitrile latex. So, oh my God, it was like, okay, we began to just, um, you know, call my friend in Brazil, and then we were shipping container from Brazil to US on nitrile latex, and it was amazing because in one part, everything is closed, but we were working hard on this. Then other companies began to build plants in US, and in 2020 was very busy, and then at the end of 2020, I say, okay, I'm selling nitrile latex. Why I can sell now natural latex. So I began to call my friends in Guatemala, and I literally begged them. I begged them, can you please send me some latex? So it was kind of like that. And then suddenly 2021, we began to sell natural latex also, and a lot of nitrile. And then we began with natural rubber, and it's been a interesting ride. Yeah.
It's up now, right? The business is up.
Yeah. Now we are selling natural rubber, natural latex. We are selling now. We have other kind of products. We established a company in Mexico like 3 months ago.
Mhm.
Now we have a company in Mexico, and we are selling now probably to 11 countries. We are selling US, Canada, Mexico, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Chile. I mean, a lot of countries. And now we have carbon black that we are selling in Mexico. And yeah, I began to to grow my team with my friends. So that's the way you do it. I mean, you know people, and you say, okay, these people can be wonderful, and my sister is working with me too. So all my colleagues are, all of them but one are women.
Hmm.
So
Good. And your
yeah,
father still associated with your business?
my father is not associated with me now. I
Okay.
mean, it's only my business. He is doing his stuff. I'm doing my stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Mhm. Okay. Now, can we talk a little bit about markets? First of all, Latin America. What kind of rubber markets are there in terms of the products wise. I think which are the countries major, major in the business, rubber industry business, like a Brazil, Colombia, what else countries? Yeah.
And you have rubber businesses in all Latin America. Probably there are countries where they have, smaller companies. Um, the biggest business is Brazil. It's
Yeah.
they consume a lot of, they use a lot of natural rubber too, but they have like also, they also produce synthetic rubbers. They produce carbon black. They produce silica. They produce oil. Eh, they are very big on rubber. Second is Mexico. They also produce a lot of carbon black, titanium dioxide, synthetic rubber, you know, silica. They have a lot of raw materials producing, and also a lot of companies, because a lot of American companies and European companies, they have um, they have their own companies in Mexico. So you have companies like Gates Rubber, like Expo, um, and like compounders. Of course, they are very big also in shoe soles.
Mhm.
But I have to say that Mexico is very big in automotive components.
Okay.
But then you have, they produce a little bit of natural, not so much. In Latin America produces just little of natural rubber. Only I think 8 to 9% of natural rubber is produced in Latin America, and we
Mhm.
import more than we can even use. Um, you have Colombia also have a nice, interesting industry. Peru is very big in mining, so
Mhm.
they have like, I think the biggest uh, factory of retreads for retreads for mining tires. They really
Mhm.
produce like big treads for
Mhm.
mining. And Chile is kind of in the middle, not so big, not so small. Argentina, they have a lot of um, rubber producers. They also produce synthetic rubber, oils. So it depends on, even you produce in Venezuela and Colombia, they have carbon black plants. So yeah, you have, you know, it's not a small business in Latin America. Probably, of course, it's not as big as in Asia,
Yeah.
but it's an interesting business, yes.
So all the Latin Americans, they speak Spanish.
Brazil speak Portuguese, but the rest of Latin America they speak Spanish. Yes.
So do you speak Portuguese too, or only
No,
Spanish?
I have a lot of Portuguese friends, so I can speak, words, and I can understand whatever they say. They talk something like they call Portuñol, that is a mix between Portuguese and Spanish. So
Okay.
yeah, you understand them, they understand you, and that's what is important.
Okay. But any natural anything natural rubber come from the Southeast Asia or Asian side to the
No,
Latin area?
no, Brazil produces
Yeah.
natural rubber. Guatemala is big in
Yeah.
latex.
Right.
Mexico has some production. Colombia has some production, and there is a little bit of production in Ecuador, but just a little. But most of the natural rubber comes from, I have to say, yes, Asia, and Ivory Coast is getting bigger too.
Mhm. Yeah,
Maybe.
Ivory Coast is growing now a lot. Actually,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah. They
But
are.
it's more on the Kaplan, eh?
No, they are selling
Yeah,
TSR.
that's TSR2. Yeah, the start plants are coming, but it already started. The journey has started there.
No, they are selling TSR to Latin America and even to US and Canada.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
I
they
see.
are
I
not.
see.
Yeah.
Okay, so now talk about US market now. How is the US market for you?
Oh, US market is a big, big market. I mean, US market is 1 million tons in general.
Mm,
So for us, we are very strong in latex in US now. Um, Natural rubber, natural latex, and also nitrile latex. Um, you know, there are US market. You have the big, big companies, of course, like tire companies. They have big, big plants here. They also have a lot of compounders too. So yes, those are the markets that we are going in TSR, like to compounders and other companies. And in latex is it's not as too big as other countries, but latex is a good market here, so we are in latex too. Uh, US is a very difficult market to go into because it's very conservative.
mhm.
I mean, they are not so open to, change one supplier from another one. It's a matter of being persistent and, they want to talk to people in US. It's more like they don't like to import themselves to do all the import and everything. So something that we do is that we do everything and we sell them, in their plants. So you have to go to the customers, talk to them. They have to see your face. They want to see your face. They want to know you. People here, they don't answer emails. They want to talk to you on the phone. So for them, it's very important, like that personal touch. And uh, and also, they are always like, okay, I want to know who are you, where are you located, where are you coming from. So it's not an easy market to get into. You need to have very good plan. But once you are there, it's also kind of very difficult to go out.
And how is the nitrile now with, during the COVID time, so much boom in the globe market, right? And
Yeah,
eh,
that market is very low now because I mean, I remember 2 years ago I counted probably like 12 glove plants in US,
mm,
because a lot of money was poured into building plants, and I have to say that probably only 4 or 5 are producing now. That's a big difference because like 6 years ago it was only two, but they built so much inventory, so they produce so much, and now they are not using so many gloves that market now is very low. The nitrile market is very low compared
but
like with 2021.
do do they produce in US natural latex gloves also?
Nitrile.
Only nitrile, right? What about
Only,
the?
only nitrile. They don't produce natural latex gloves in US.
Mm,
Maybe just a little bit, one plant, small. I don't know. It's not. It's almost nothing because it's cheaper to import the product from Asia. So um, and in US they don't use so many natural gloves, um, because of the allergies and stuff. They all use more nitrile. They use the natural latex glove mostly for like surgery because they are, better than in tight, for the surgeons. So the flexibility is better than nitrile. So that's why they use more the nitrile for everything for the doctors, but the natural for the surgeons.
and what about the other latex products like foams? They also produce mattresses or anything?
There are mattresses. There are a lot of adhesives.
Mm,
I mean, other kind of uses. Mattresses is kind of big here because there is this. like trend now about, all the natural organic stuff. So mattresses, shoes, with natural rubber soles, and there is that trend on being more natural. So something that used to be made with uh, synthetic rubber are now made with natural. So the market is not that it's growing so big because this is established market. So, but there are new things that are going to the natural side instead of the synthetic side. Most of the things are like for example, uh, pet toys. Pet toys are big now too in natural rubber. So yeah.
Okay, now we move into some other subject of your journey is associations. You are one of the popular figure in the Latin rubber industry association, right? And you were the president, and you continually associate with them. Can you talk about your the journey with association? Yeah, what was it
Oh my
like?
God. I can talk about that for like 10 years straight. I mean, uh, my work with the Latin America Association is that's something that one of the best thing in my life, I have to say. Um, I began to work with them probably 15 years ago, and I was so, I don't know, hook up. I mean, it's like because we are an association where our first goal is to make friends and promote the industry, promote the technology, promote the knowledge, but also to make friends, uh, to talk to everybody, to be like a an industry where people feel welcome. So I began to work, a little bit uh, with them 15 years ago. I began to be in the board probably like 12 years ago, 10, something like that, 10 years ago. We organize big conference every 2 years. So those conferences are wonderful. Everybody comes from everywhere in Latin America, US, and Europe. So that's an event, and once you go there, you want to go to every event because you feel so welcome and so, I don't know, friend with everybody. So then we began to do. I remember I was in Colombia, and we tried to make another event besides the big conference, and we, with a friend in Colombia, we organized the first symposium in Colombia, and so many things happened. And then one of my friends told me, "You want to be president?" And I said, "Yes, I want to be president."
Uh,
I want to be because a year, come up, I like 4 years before that, 2 years before that. Um, he told me if I wanted to be secretary, and I said, "Okay, I can be a secretary, but one day I want to be president. I mean, that's something that I want to do." So finally, he said, "Okay, you want to be president?" I said, "Yes, I want to be president." I know that was a lot of work, and I was the first woman president,
yes.
and it was interesting because that was in 2017. So my period had to finish in 2019, and I say I want to be president again. I mean, if nobody else wanted, I want to be president. So I want to. I was president in 2019, and then 2020 came. When 2020 was, how it was, and we had to do a lot of stuff because most of our events were in presence. I mean, were face to face. So suddenly we say, okay, this can be the end if we don't do anything else. So 2020 was a transformative year for us. We had to, change a lot to do like webinars and stuff. And it was very good for us because we brought a lot of more people to the association. We published our first book in 2019, and then we began to publish more books. And for me, it was one of the best things I have ever done because it's something that you love. I love Latin America and I love rubber. So then you have the both things. You have people from everywhere. You can do something that is beyond yourself. So it's like we talk about, improving tire recycling. So we have our tire recycling committee. We have a natural rubber committee that we work on the issues of natural rubber. How are we going to improve the natural rubber production in Latin America? So we have a lot of talks about what to do, like as a whole, industry, a whole region to be stronger, to have better industries, to promote promote technology. So that's something that I really love. And I was president until last year. Of course, the next president is a woman. That's the good
Oh,
thing about, being the first, because when you are the first, you always have then like a voice to
yeah.
say, okay, next one had to be a woman too. So yeah, so yeah, that was she's a professor in a university, so
Mm,
we are working a lot to have very good ties with more educational institutes in not only Latin America but also in Spain, in Europe, and so that's something that we work a lot. We have a symposium last week
mm,
in Mexico, and it was wonderful. We had people from all Mexico. We have conference on mostly automotive parts and automotive polymers, and yeah, that's something that I will do all my life. I will be there all my life. I don't know what I was gonna do with the rest of my life, but with association I will be there.
it's a really good thing, be associated with associate because you have a friend. It's like a extended family industry, yeah, right?
Yes.
So
Yes,
it's a
I always say, I mean, my best friends are there. Everybody that is associated with me is there. My sister is now the vice president.
okay.
So yeah. So it's like, and I'm pushing other people to be on the board, but sometimes they don't want it. They know who they are. But yeah.
So, and you're also, I came to know that you're also active in the Rotary Club also. You're not just in the rubber, you're also doing some social activities as well outside the rubber. Do you?
Yes, I have to say, my mom works with autistic children, and she has like a non-profit foundation in Venezuela for helping, people with autism, and that also uh, had a profound mark in me because you know that uh, no matter what you do with your life, you always, you know, can do something else for somebody else. So it's like that's why I think my work in the association on Rotary or other associations, is is because of that. It's because you know that no matter what happens with your life, your highs or lows, you can always help other people to have a better life. And no matter, I mean, I even have some stories from the association. I can say nice story that happening in 2018. We have a symposium in in Colombia. And then on the symposium, one guy said, I come to say something. And I say, okay, you can talk. And he said, I have a house because of you, the association. I said, we all were, what? What? And they say, yes, when I was here 20 years ago, you have a course on EVA, and so I took the formula that you gave me, the formulation you gave me, to my boss, and then, to make the story short, they were the first that produced EVA in Colombia, and his boss made a lot of money, and like 4 years after that, his boss gave him a house.
Ah.
Yeah, so uh, yeah, so it's just it's and that is something that gives that fire on you, that that if no matter what you do, sometimes can be helping other people, but also teach them something that can help a lot of people to improve their life, to improve their society as a whole. So that's something that is always in us, in me, especially because of my mom and everything that she told me. And so it's where you can, you have your passion for rubber, you have your passion for Latin America. You know that thing can help a lot of people to have better lives, and that's something that always fueled me. Yeah.
Super. Yeah, that's great. Wow. Okay, one more. I want to touch on you recently finished, your journey is really amazing, first of all. Uh, you, all crisis after crisis, at the same time, you take the best out of it, and now you're in US. By the way, what is a Valex means? Any meaning for that company name? How we
Yeah,
start the Valex?
people as the Valex is because my second name is Alexandra,
Right.
so that's ALX, and
Ah,
my sister name is Valeria, second name. So
okay.
it's a mix of my sister's second name and my second name.
I see. Okay, that's how it came out.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you recently completed a special program at Stanford as well on entrepreneurship. Can you talk
Yeah.
about your experience? Where you still want to learn. You're an entrepreneur. You started a companies. You closed the companies. Yeah, you again start again. So talk about this the program on the entrepreneurship at the Stanford.
Yeah, it was a wonderful. I mean, you know that no matter what happened, uh, you always have to learn new things. I mean, you always there are new things not only in technology but also in how to run a company, how to have a great team. So that all of that you need to learn new things. So this is a special program for Latino entrepreneurs in
Mhm.
US. There are a lot of immigrants because being an immigrant is kind of difficult. So I came to this country and I wanted to start a company. And then, of course, you don't have credit, you don't have this, you don't have that. I mean, you don't have the network that you usually have in your country where you know people here, people there. So this sometimes kind of difficult. So this program is it was based is to teach people the skills how to run a company and make it grow. Besides all the all the issues that you can have for crisis, how to understand how to grow, how to manage a team, how to grow a team, um, what you have to focus on growing, how to do good marketing, how to get finance, also. So for me, it was very interesting because Stanford, they have very, very good teachers. We met people, that wrote books and they work with Nike or Google or that, and suddenly you have the opportunity to talk to people like that. And also that something that resonated a lot with me is that you see all those Latino people, like people like you that speak like you, and they are creating companies, they are creating tech companies. They have different kind of backgrounds, and you realize that even most of them are younger than me, and then you see how people are always creating. They have very great ideas in business, and that was also a nice experience, knowing other people that making very interesting and different things that you do. When you are in the rubber business, you are always like focused on rubber, but it's always good to know what other people do, what they do different, uh, what their expectation of growing. Because this program was focused on growing, how you to grow your company to be like a big company.
Mm, mm. So it's a good experience for you, yeah?
No, it was wonderful. It was really really enlightening. Yeah.
So we not talk about women per se, how many are there in the rubber industry? Are there a lot of women working now is in the leadership level, also on the floor level? Do the women work, engineers or workers? What's the line situation in Latin, in your
Um,
like let's Latin America? Yeah.
mm, I have to say that there are more now than when I began.
Mm,
Uh, I don't see so many like workers on the floor shop, but I've seen a lot more like owners of their companies, and like in good positions in their in other companies, like management positions. Um, Not as much as probably I would like to, because we always want to see more and more women the on the on, on the business. I remember, like, probably when I began, you have meetings, and then from 20 people there were only 2 women. Now are more. Our more like, probably more like 8, 7. So it's improving. It's not half of the people, but it's improving. At least in Latin America, it's improving. You see in the conference, you see it when you visit customers, you see it when you visit the plants. I don't see so many like in the plant, but I see more engineers, more and more
mm,
engineers in the lab, for example, or managing a team. Even here in US, listen, these glove companies, I have seen like engineers in charge of development, quality. Um, I've seen more. I mean, it's been probably a big difference in the last 20 years. Yeah.
yeah, it's good. It's good. But you have like in factories, do they have it night shifts also in only the daytime shifts only? Factory operations.
No, I've seen probably more in operation, more in like in like purchasing, marketing, but also engineers in the factories, like in quality control,
Okay.
like in research and development. Maybe not so many in the plant, like a supervisor or 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 I don't know, and they are more now, and probably they will begin to permeate more to other
Yeah.
part of their companies. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, we're almost come to end of our conversation. It's really nice to know about all your 20, close to 25 plus years, right? Yeah, in this journey, professional journey. Yeah. So we touched
Yes.
many things. So you have started, you have a silica company in Venezuela that's closed, then you were in tire recycling, then you close, and then your Valex. So what is the plan for the Valex? How do you see the vision for the Valex?
uh of course, now at my age, uh you wanted to you I have learned things from the past, and our mission in Valex is also to be big in the North American market, and but also we have that mission of promoting the Latin American rubber industry in North America. So that's something that we really wanted to do to promote more Latin America. And our vision for the company is being one of the biggest suppliers in North America. We are working hard on that. North America being Canada, Mexico, and US. Um, we are we are doing very well in the last 4 years, 5 years. Uh, so we wanted to keep that grow and to keep growing in the market. We know that there is a space here for us. Uh, Companies are working more through sustainability, and we are FSC certified. We have
Mhm.
suppliers that are FSC certified, so we want to promote more and more sustainable business. As a woman own business also. That's very important here in US now. Um, and we are also a minority owned business. So that's something that we want to promote too in North America. So yeah, we want to grow, no more crisis. Fortunately, there I had enough. But yeah, I mean, after you go through some, you know that you are going through get through any other one. Yeah.
I mean, every crisis you bring, it makes you become stronger and stronger. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm stronger enough. I don't need to be stronger.
enough.
I got the lesson. I got the lesson. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, finally, before we wrap it up, your message to the young people, both men and women, to
Yeah.
excel in their career, because you have seen all areas of the Latin America, Northern America, so globally travel. You've seen the changes, challenges for the rubber industry. What do you suggest for the young people to excel in their career? I know. So yeah.
Um. Yeah. I think rubber industry is a very nice industry. I mean, you can have a very interesting career going to the rubber industry. I always talk to young people that they have to focus on what they want and create a career for them since they are young, because sometimes when you're young you just think on today, but this is an industry where you can not only change your life but you can change the life of other people and make this world a better world. The good thing about the rubber industry is that we are not so big, so you can know people, you can make friends, you can you know know different part of the business. I was in a rubber plantation like 3 months ago, and then you can see this is a business where you can be surrounded by plants or surrounded by tires or going to recycling, so you can have a career very well rounded if you want it. And it's important for everybody that, and for young people, that they know that they can be an agent of change if they want it in this industry or any industry. But it's important to think, in 10, 20 years upfront, so you can do now what you are going to have in the future. So I think young people now, they think a lot on that kind of stuff, sustainability, recycling. So this is an industry where you can do everything. You can do like sustainable. You can work on a sustainable farm, or you can work on recycling, or you can work on producing new materials, better materials. So no matter if you want to sell or you want to research, you have everything in the rubber industry. You can work in anywhere, and you have a friend in every country, and probably you do too. So you always have a friend in every country, because there are always someone that you met in a conference, or you met in a webinar, or you met whatever, and they can be your best friend. And that's for me, that's very important, having good friends.
Yeah. Maria, wonderful talk, wonderful conversation. I really enjoyed it, every minute of it, and very cheerful. And good to know about your journey, how you overcome all these things, and keep rocking. Yeah, that's what is my request. Keep rocking, enjoy it. Thank you very much for being part of this today's session on the women leadership in rubber industry. It's really wonderful, Maria.
Thank
Thank you
you,
very much.
Fernanda. I'm very grateful you invited me. Thank you. And you
Thank you.
heard me. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
guys, that's a session with Maria Pina-Heller. She's the CEO of the Valex Group. You heard all the story, her journey. It's very inspiring. Amazing woman, amazing journey. Thank you very much for being part of this session today, all of you. Thank you. I see you in the next episode with another amazing person to learn about her journey. Thank you all, guys. Bye bye for now. Sorry,
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Bye bye for now.
Thank you, Fernanda. Bye.